All right, Charlie Pellet, thanks so much. As Charlie mentioned, I'm Tyler Kendall here in Washington alongside Joe Matthew. And as the conflict in Iran reaches its 13th day, there is a lot of conversation here in Washington about revitalizing the defense industrial base, replenishing weapon stockpiles. As the U.S. confirms earlier today, it has hit more than 15,000 targets in Iran. The same goes in Europe, where NATO members are now continuing their push to spend more on their defense systems amid broader pressure from President Trump for those allies to boost their defense budgets. On the latest edition of Bloomberg Wall Street Week, David Weston takes a look at how Sweden is playing a larger role in the European defense manufacturing base.
I know we say that, Europe is rearming. But the reality is that Europe as a whole is not rearming. There is a limited number of countries that rearm. That includes at least two big ones. First and foremost, of course, Germany, the other one being Poland, and then a number of smaller countries, particularly in Scandinavia and other parts of Eastern Europe. And these are countries that actually do have, if you like, latent fiscal capacity. Germany, again, being the case in point. And therefore, there is a self-selection. The countries that can have both guns and butter, well, they're rearming. But those that had to choose, and by that I mean France, Italy, Spain, the UK, they are much more hesitant when it comes to significantly increasing defense expenditures.
Defense has the potential to become a stronger economic driver across Europe. The EU is targeting 50% of defense procurement to be from EU suppliers by 2030, a meaningful shift considering that after Russia's invasion, that number was roughly 25%. But meeting that goal requires production capacity, and that's where Sweden stands out. It has maintained that production capacity for the better part of a century, in part because it historically relied more on exports than other European manufacturers, and that continuity matters.
There's a, I would say, dramatic ramp up in spending right now, but there were years where there was not as much attention or investment in Europe in defense. How did Saab maintain its investments?
Well, we have never sort of dismantled sort of everything, as you are alluding to, within our company, and that goes back to our ownership, I think. Even though we are a stock exchange company, publicly listed, we have a strong owner in the Wallenberg family. And they have always been long-term and also very loyal to sort of the deterrence and defense of Sweden for many, many decades. And so we never dismantled. We continuously invested more on our own, I would say, when sort of the government didn't sort of fund everything that we wanted them to fund. And we have always been a company that takes sort of a lot of our top line and our bottom line, for that sake, to reinvest in R&D, to always be relevant in the short time frame, but also long term. So we are a bit unique in that sense, I think, not only looking at relying upon governments all the time to keep our operations efficient and state-of-the-art.
I can't wait to see this whole thing, and you'll have a chance to, along with us this evening on Bloomberg Wall Street Week with our colleague David Weston, and that starts after the late edition of Balance of Power. Check it out at 6 p.m. Eastern Time as part of our day-long conversation here on Bloomberg TV and radio. Thank you for being with us on the Friday edition. We promised you an important conversation, and we bring it to you now with the headline on the terminal. Tech-savvy spies step out of the shadows and into the boardroom. It's a fascinating moment for former CIA officers to bring their experience in the field to bear in the private sector, and in this case, in the market for security-focused tech firms. There's one in particular that was launched not very long ago by Brian Carbaugh, former CIA officer. And it's a company that is actually harnessing the very technology that we were discussing earlier with Mike Shepard, and that's artificial intelligence. Andesite is the name of the company, and that former CIA officer, Brian Carbaugh, is with us right now. Brian, welcome to Bloomberg TV and radio. It's great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
We should start by thanking you for your service, and I know that from the if you tell me you'd have to kill me file, there's probably not a lot you could tell us about your resume, but you were part of the CIA Jawbreaker program. You're the real deal, and you had the opportunity in that experience to realize what you didn't have but wanted. Now it's your opportunity to create that technology to help our men and women in the field. Andesite is compiling massive amounts of data to do what with in combat?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. For me, going back to that experience in Afghanistan after 9/11, obviously speed was essential. We had to move very quickly. The threats were compounding. All of us who were on those first waves in Afghanistan knew that our country was at risk. The attacks were going to multiply. And what mattered was trying to get the information not just fast enough, but also